Hey, everybody, this is Holly from Holly's Pandorium, and I am really excited to bring back somebody that I have such a blast talking with. This is Chris Reinhardt from Real American Monsters, and Chris has a very interesting life. And I'm not going to spoil anything else because he's got some really cool stuff to share. So I've been looking forward to this. Hello, Chris. I am
Hello,
so
hello.
glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I had a great time the last time. I'm very happy to be back.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Real American Monsters and what's up with that group. What are you guys doing?
So, Real American Monsters is a new project that I'm taking over, taking on, I guess. I have my other project is everybody knows is Discover Sasquatch Investigation. Well, not everybody knows, but that's my old investigation group. Just strictly Sasquatch and everything. But as the years have gone on with the Sasquatch in the last 10 years, things have just progressed with me in a spiritual way and around me and the way things introduce themselves to me. And I can't take Sasquatch any farther. I know they're real. And the only thing I could ever do to take it any farther from what I have now is to show like maybe a film or something. So I decided to take on Real American Monsters because now I know that I think, and in my opinion, that everything is linked together. The spirit world, the Sasquatch's world, all the energy, everything is somehow connected. So I'm taking on Real American Monsters to take the fight to them now. I know these things exist. I know that I can go and find them. So I'm going to go, we're going to find them, we're going to try and collect as much evidence as we can, and then we're going to help the people and try to help the people that are affected by them. So I'm going to bring my light out to them, and hopefully my light and my I don't know how to word it, but I've just been introduced to all this stuff, but so I know that I'm like a light, what do they call it, light warrior or light uh,
Yes.
um so I'm going to take me out to the fight, and we're going to go out, and we're going to try and help people, and we're going to try and collect evidence and create awareness to the world that this stuff is real. I mean, I don't, as your audience, I'm sure I don't have to convince that any of this is not, it's real, but that's what Real American Monsters is all about. The Sasquatch, I've had numerous interactions with from here to Canada. I've been to Canada, to Colorado, to Arizona. I've been everywhere and have interacted with them. And as things have gone along, like I just said, all this other stuff has opened up to me. So that's what Real American Monsters is going to be all about.
That's awesome. So how many years do you think you've done the Sasquatch research and investigations?
I've
How
been
long
doing
have you
Sasquatch for 10 years.
Okay. Okay. And so when you've gone on these journeys to these other states, are you going with other groups or just your group going out or what how does that work?
Yeah, it's just basically me traveling. My group has consisted of lots of different members along the way, and but basically I've manned the helm, and I go out and I travel to these spots and to see what happens, to see if I can get the interactions, to see what happens, and so that's where I've come up with the idea that there are certain people out there that are meant to interact with with whatever's out there, and they can, and wherever they go, they get the interactions. Like I've been to Florida in the Green Swamp. I've been to the Colorado Rockies. I went up to Canada to Snowgrove Lake with the director from Monster Quest, Doug Hychek, twice, 2 years in a row, and we had some amazing things happen. We've come up with a hum that the Sasquatch do, and nobody's ever thought about it, and we're getting recordings of it, and it's something that they do, and we're getting recordings from all over America. I mean, that's the newest thing with the Sasquatch thing, but
So what do you think the hum is?
so I think, and I've used it twice to bring them in. I've used it here and in Florida. Actually, we've figured out the hertz level. It sounds like a hummingbird wing. We were having interactions here at my house, and my
Mhm.
wife was, and the the Sasquatch were coming here and they were tearing her hummingbird feeder apart and throwing the flowers all over for 4 straight days.
Huh.
And on the 5th day, they took one of the flowers, and she was mad. She goes, it's not only that they're drinking a gallon of this juice every day,
Right.
they're taking my flower. So she comes into me, she goes, "You tell your buddies I want my flower back." Yeah, no lie. That's exactly what she said.
Funny.
And I'm like, "Okay, that's gonna work. I'll do it." But I went out and I did it. And she comes in the next morning, the morning after, she goes, "You're not gonna believe this. All the flowers were plucked off the feeder, but they
Mhm.
were all piled this time underneath the feeder." And she goes,
Oh,
"Right on top was the 5th missing flower."
wow.
Um, Amazing,
Yes.
simply amazing. That night, I had a blacked out helicopter that showed up over my house, hovering for about 15 minutes. And after that, then the Sasquatch activity stopped here at the house. So I don't know what
Interesting.
they were here. I have a friend that does this, and he is an airplane mechanic. So
Mhm.
he knows all the sites where you go and you look for the logged flights, because you have to log in, even if you're Army, you have to log in your flights. Helicopters, planes, anything, it has to have a log.
Right.
We couldn't find the log, couldn't find the date. So he said that there was a reason for that, that they didn't need to log in. They're beyond Army, they're beyond everything. They're
Hmm.
probably the Men in Black type, agency. But
Sure. That
the
would fit their perimeters. Yeah.
everybody here seen it. Everybody that lived here seen it. My wife seen it. My son-in-law and her daughter and lived with us. They seen it. It was a crazy, crazy night.
Sounds like it. How long ago was this?
This was about, I want to say maybe 4 years ago now.
Okay.
But I put one and one together. I'm starting to think hummingbird. What's up with the hum? So I have a friend named MK Davis. I'm sure people are familiar with MK that know Sasquatch and stuff. He's
Mhm.
a very smart man. And I told him about what happened here. He said, "Well, Chris, you're not going to believe this, but the same thing happened to my hummingbird feeders. They were getting torn apart, wrecked, broken in pieces." And he's like, "I don't think the Sasquatch like them." And then he used to park his car underneath his hummingbird feeder and the batteries would drain. No lie, the batteries would drain. So putting one to one together, I did some research and I'm like, well, I'm into the frequency thing now. I've graduated past the flesh and blood thing now.
Right.
Um, well, what was that? I don't know what that was, but
That was
I'm
different.
and so I'm past the flesh and blood thing now. So I've graduated up into someone's getting messages. Is that me or
Hmm.
you? Hold on a second.
I have my notifications turned off, so I don't know.
I closed it. Maybe it was mine.
Okay.
So,
It's okay.
so
Technology. I get it.
yeah. I've graduated. I mean, like I said, I'm graduated to the frequency thing. That's what I think, that everything is energy. Everything, we're energy, they're energy, everything's energy. So I did research and I found out what their wings hummed at, because MK told me, he says, "I don't think they like the sound of their wings." So I
Interesting.
so I did all the research and their wings they go at 40 hertz.
Okay.
Standard rate, not why they're buzzing by your head like a million miles,
Sure.
but when they're just hanging out and just, they're just hovering, they're at
Right.
40 hertz. So I went out and got myself a 40 hertz tuning fork. And now I go back to my areas. I have an area called Rock Throw Alley, where the Sasquatch come and see us, which I believe the I don't see. Hold on a second, excuse me. I don't see them up there, but the two
Mhm.
girls on my team have seen them. But we have stones thrown at us. We have all the common things
Mhm.
on up there. So I brought the 40 hertz tuning fork up there and I ran it. And I'm ringing it and I'm ringing it. And we had 3 of them come in that day and start throwing stones at us and all that stuff. So I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This hum thing. This is, the 40 hertz and everything. So I started uh uh doing my podcast with Doug Hycheck's channel, and I sat down talking to him one day and I told him all about my hummingbird story. And he's like, "You're not gonna believe this." He said, "Just wait." So he called up David Ellis from the Olympic Project and got him on the phone. And I told David what I was thinking about the hum. And he said, "Listen to this, Chris. He has a recording from a man named Tristan Yolton from Washington State, and it's a Bigfoot. What's believed to be a Bigfoot sitting down eating a jar of peanut butter. But while he's eating the jar of peanut butter, he is humming. Guess what the frequency hertz level of the hum is?
Oh my goodness.
40 hertz.
Huh.
Wow."
So maybe it's not necessarily irritating to them, but it's significant to them in some way that maybe they're being fooled into thinking it's something else and finding out, oh no, it's just a hummingbird.
Right. So
Fascinating.
we put it out across America on the podcast. If you're a Bigfoot researcher, and do you have a hum? Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. We got tons of recordings from all over the United States
Did you?
of this hum at 40 hertz.
Wow.
Again, from North Carolina, from Ohio, from all over the place.
That's incredible.
So what are the Bigfoot doing with the hum? Are they
Right.
humming? What are they using it for? Is it a language? Is it that
Right.
it's unreal. So that's exciting when that happens, because
Heck yeah.
and that would never happen if you didn't work together. If we, me and Doug Hychek, we're totally opposite. I am who I am, and he's a producer, but we're great friends. We're really, really great friends now, and I've
Mhm.
traveled with him to Canada, but not in a million years would I ever thought that we would be working together on a project like this. But we put everything aside. I have different beliefs than he has.
Right.
You put that together, and then you get answers. So now there's a hum. So if we can use the hum, can they be brought in with this hum? And I'm not saying that you could go to Walmart parking lot, get a 40 hertz tuning fork and ring it, and you're gonna be the Pied Piper of the Sasquatch. You're not gonna have 20 Sasquatch coming to the middle of Walmart parking lot.
Right.
You know how to find them, and you know where they are, and they're in your areas. Try the 40 hertz tuning fork. I guarantee you. Oh, I can't guarantee you. Sorry, I can't. I'm not a car salesman. But you might get a response.
You're confident that there would be a response. How about that?
So yes, we call blasted that up at Snow Grove this last summer,
Mhm.
and we didn't have Bigfoot activity. What we had was an orb show that night. Orbs everywhere, everywhere. White ones, red ones, big ones, small ones. It was absolutely unreal. I've never seen orb before until this.
Wow.
And we call blasted the 40 hertz. So the 40 hertz something special? It might be, and it might not be, but we're thinking that it is. So that's just something I'm going to put in my bag of tricks when I go out with Real American Monsters and try and help people and try to find out what's going on at their places and try to ease their mind about the Sasquatch, or I'm
Right.
just learning about the spirits, and I'm just learning about all the other things that are out there. But hopefully I can bring the right people with me, and we can, we can give some people some, calm them a little bit and help them out.
That would be good because we got to share space with them, and it can be amicable. We don't have to aggravate each other. I don't think.
Right.
I don't think it's required. And I think that we can have really positive experiences with them. I know that and I understand this completely. For someone that's never seen a Bigfoot or Sasquatch, the idea is a bit terrifying that some massive creature is wandering about and that they can disappear when they want to. They can appear when they want to. They're much stronger than we are. Um, they seem to sense a lot about us and be able to hide whenever they want and go wherever they want, whenever they want. That's intimidating. That's intimidating because, how many are there? What is their intent? Were they here before us? What's the deal? I mean, there's a lot of questions that people have. And yet, as an experiencer, I have more fascination and respect for them than a lot of people I know. And I found that people that have either researched them or have seen them or have a sense of them, there isn't that fear factor so much. It's much more respect and interest, which I would love if more people felt that way. I'm a little disturbed when I see the shock and awe ads for programs that have to do with all fear mongering, because I think it's unnatural and I don't think it needs to be that way. I don't think we need to hunt them down and exterminate them. I think that's unnecessary, and I think it's just for television ratings. I don't think it's
It's creepypasta.
as it shouldn't be that way. I don't think we're supposed to be approaching them in that way, and
Yeah.
that's probably why a lot of them are staying hidden, because we're not trustworthy. We don't get the relationship with Earth that they do, and I think they're much safer if they stay out away from us for the most part.
Yep. Well,
But
that's what
that's just
sells.
my thought. That's
Yeah.
just my thought.
That's how they make the money. So, but that's if you're about the money, then that's what you're doing. You're doing creepypasta stuff. You gotta put the interactions out there. You gotta hear the big stories and the scary stories
The
and
big drama.
yeah, the big drama. And that's what I don't do that on my podcast. They definitely share their interactions, but I'm there to show them who these people are and what they how they live and they're just normal people like you and me and everybody else, but they have Sasquatch living on their properties, or they're out looking for the Sasquatch, or they
Mhm.
devote their time to the Sasquatch, and
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
creepypasta sells, but I'm just not. That's not my can of worms.
Right. So you have had a very interesting succession of events about the paranormal that have more to do with, I'm just gonna say, for listeners and viewers, more of a spiritual nature, I guess. I think that, is that a fair way to describe what
Yeah,
you've been
yeah.
through, do you think? Kinda? I don't wanna give anything away, so I'm trying to be a little vague. Um, would you mind kind of going through maybe your trip with Al, and then talk about some of the things that have happened in and around your life in the last few years and what you've been going through?
Okay, so looking for the Sasquatch in the forest and going through areas out in the forest and that's where all the fairy tales are written out in the forests and all that, and I believe that fairy tales are most of them are real. They just didn't know how to put them in books back then, or they're trying to do their own version of creepypasta and sell their books. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But over the years with the Sasquatch, this whole other world has opened up to me. It's no longer the Sasquatch or flesh and blood. There's something else out there, and I have been introduced as a child, I was introduced to spirits and ghosts and all that, but, there was a big time in my life after my childhood that I never experienced anything again, and up until I started, looking for the Sasquatch in the forest, and then things started getting a little weird, and things started happening around the house, and, things like that, and, and it has progressed, and, I've had a lot of strange things the last couple years since I've been on the show. I had actually a succubus that came into this house. I don't know how she got here. I was warned that actually by Holly that she was out. Something was outside the house, and she did get in. And I used a spirit box to learn who was in the house and what was here. And then I actually was taught how to smudge and how to and I read how to smudge, but I never knew about the open door thing, that you had to
Yeah.
have an open door. I never knew that. So every time I did it before, I never had an open door, never showed the door. So this time I showed the door, and I was actually right here in this room, right behind me where I did it.
Mhm.
And I did my thing. I smudged in the name of Saint Michael. I said my prayers and everything. You must go. The door is open. You must go now. All of a sudden, I have there's like a shelf over the laundry. They're like over the washing machine.
Mhm.
Where detergent and everything. All of a sudden, that whole shelf just goes, "Whoa," flies right off the shelf and onto the ground. And then out the door, something went out. You just felt it. It was just like, whoa. And
Yeah.
then I shut the door and put it behind me, and I got rid of her. Now I seen. I don't know if this was her or I don't know what it was, but I seen 2 days earlier my first apparition that I've ever seen in the house, and it was like a little 4-foot shadow thing, but it looked more like of an alien type. It looked like more of a skinny, long fingers, long everything, and then the head was kind of big. But that caught me off guard. So this stuff is popping in and out and in and out and just different things and different strange things. Like when we went up to Canada, I saw a crow frozen in flight. I don't know if people see that, but I'm looking out the window and I'll tell you the other story part of it is even crazier. And it's just frozen. And I'm watching it and I'm like, what the heck? Is he just hanging up there in the wind? And I'm looking for his wings to move. And I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
wings ain't moving either. And we get up the side of him and then all of a sudden he unfreezes and he flies away. So we drive about, I don't know, about a half more hour. And then we had walkie talkies between the cars and the car up in front of us goes on. And he goes, hey, did you guys see that coyote on the side of the road? And we talked back and forth. And we're like, no, we didn't see no coyote. He goes, the coyote looked like it was frozen. I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me." I said, "You're not gonna believe this, but about, how many miles back, I saw a crow that was frozen in the air." And then we actually did research after that, and it's
Mhm.
actually a thing that, people experience and have filmed, and it's very I still it's this stuff is just very strange, and, you wouldn't think that it could happen, but if you're looking out for it and you're in it's just it happens. So all this creepy stuff happens all over all the time now, and I get, like, little creatures in the house and bumps in the night and, things missing, like a necklace. My wife had a necklace, and I got it for her for Christmas, or I that's not important, but it was her favorite necklace, and she puts it in the same spot in her jewelry box every night before she goes to bed, and she put it in the jewelry. She couldn't find it forever. She for months, she had to go out she bought herself another one because finally, because she just gave up on looking for it. 2 days after she bought the new one, she opened up her jewelry chest, and guess what was hanging on the hook? Her necklace back. So
Yep.
that's what our life here is filled with all these little things, and like I was telling you earlier, one night, I was lying in bed in this little blue rake. It was the creepiest thing. I have pictures I drew of it afterwards, and it crawled across my chest like I do 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 do. He was like just like a spider, like do 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 do. And I started screaming bloody murder like a little school. I was just I don't. I'm sorry if you're offended by little schoolgirl, whatever. Anybody is offended, but that's what I was screaming like a little schoolgirl.
Understandable.
My
Truly.
and I could feel, and I was it was blue, and he was like he looked just like a rake, just a miniature version, and
Yeah.
then he was crawling across my bed, and I felt the steps across the bed, and then when he got to the end of the bed and he leaped, and then boom, you felt him get on the floor, and then you could hear him running across, doo, 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 doo. And that's when Maria opens up the door and she goes, "What is going on up here? Are you dying? What is going?" I said, "Please tell me the cat was in here. Please tell me, please tell me, please tell me the cat was in here."
Right.
She's like, "Nope, the cat was downstairs with me the whole time." I'm like, "Oh my god, you're not gonna believe what I just saw." And she's like, "Well, I just thought you were dying. I never heard anybody scream like that in my entire life. It sounded like you were being killed." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." And I just that's what's happening. That's what's been happening as this stuff progresses. And then I'm told by psychics that I have this light and I'm a light warrior and they're seeking me out and I need to protect myself and I need to, and that's what I've been doing. And I've been doing a good job at it ever since. I mean, before I knew it, my grandchildren were seeing monsters here at the house. I believe
Yeah.
we talked about this the last time we were on the show, and I had 3 scratches on the inside of my arm, and that's when
Right.
Alfred Santorica told me that I needed to have my house blessed.
Right.
So, just stuff like that, and then, so I decided to go see Al at his sacred site one night and to see what that was all about, and, to get introduced to the other side of things, I guess, and, it was the craziest night I've ever had in a long time. The sky it was a summer night. We were in there and we're just sitting in there, and then all of a sudden these dark clouds came in. It was like the poltergeist. Remember the pool scene in Poltergeist when the clouds came in and wind starts picking up. So the clouds come in and the wind start and lots of stuff happened beforehand, but I don't wanna just setting up for just setting up for Sasquatch things.
Right.
But, the area is set up, it has, like, megalithic stone piles, it's a pretty cool area, But all of a sudden, these clouds start coming in, and all of a sudden, I'm freezing, freezing cold. Like I am bone chilled. I put gloves on. I got a jacket on. Al's in a vest. I am wrapped and I am shivering. I'm like, Al, I don't know what's going on. I am shivering. He got the dowsing rods out, right? Everywhere he went, those dowsing rods would point at me. Yeah, he would walk away 50 feet. They would turn around and point back in his chest back at me. He would go to the right. They would point back at me. Everywhere he went, those
Mhm.
dowsing rods were pointing. I'm sitting there shivering. He put a compass at my feet, and the compass was spinning like this at my feet, just
Wow.
spinning. I'm like, "Al, what is going on? I'm not having a good time here. I don't know what
Yeah.
this all about," you know?
That's intimidating. It's very intimidating.
Very intense.
Yeah.
And you're freezing cold, and then we left, and it was all over. It was like the sun came back out, and, no more shivering, and the jacket was off, and we had a stone thrown at us by something on the way out. And it just felt like normal stuff. I saw, like, this gray thing, this shadow thing up in the trees that was a mist, and it was it was a very, very creepy night. I've never experienced anything like that in my entire life.
So you're a regular guy with a regular job and a family, grandkids.
Yep. Collect baseball cards, collect caps. I love collecting hats. I mean, I'm just your
Right.
normal everyday guy, 40 hours a week.
Right.
Um,
I say that to bring a point to attention that sometimes there's an assumption from people looking from the outside in, and they imagine and they assume things about someone like you, and they assume that you must be doing something to bring all this at you. And I'm here to tell you, as a psychic medium that's known Chris a few years, nope, it's Chris's energy. Chris has a very pure light in him. It's just part of who he is. And he's like the last one to find out, basically. And
yep.
so he's dealing with this can opening of his life, and so many things are attracted to him all the time, and it's going to be happening to more people. Chris is one experiencer that's basically going through the encyclopedia of alternative life forms. He is getting an introduction, a crash course, if you will, in other life forms, and getting to see them up close and personal in his home, in his life, around his family, in a most unsettling manner. And so I believe that you should get an award because you're handling it very calmly, you're talking about it very calmly. But there's a lot of people that even 50 years ago, if you would have talked about this stuff in public, you would be in a funny farm and they would be making a resident plan for you, because just talking about all this stuff in the open is not okay for a lot of people. And the idea that we can talk openly online and record our own programs to discuss it is a huge blessing for me, because we're not the only ones that see things and hear things. We experience stuff. It's stuff that you feel. It's visceral. It's kinetic. You feel it, you see it, you sense it, you smell it sometimes. It's very, very real. As much as picking up a hamburger and taking a bite, it's tangible. It's something that you cannot deny. Al is one of those people that is so cautious and so precise when he does his investigations, and I know you are too. You take a very sincere approach to everything that you research, and so when you tell me that you've seen something, I trust you. I trust what you're saying, and I trust what you're experiencing, and I want people to understand there's so much more out there. The spirit world, and I say spirit, I mean the energies around us, quite literally, not just ghosts. The energies around us are so much larger. Their world, I can't even put a numerical sequence on it. It's so much bigger than the physical world we live in that we think is the only thing that there is. It's not. It's very small. We're a drop in a very large bucket compared to what's around us. So I'm excited that you're getting to experience things, and I hope that more of them are from a distance so you can kind of appreciate it a little bit less alarmingly. Tell us about the details that you're comfortable sharing. Let's talk about the succubus for a minute, and let's talk about how that transpired. Because we were talking a couple of years ago, and I kept seeing this thing outside your house, and I talked to you about it. And you knew something was going on, but we talked about what was happening. Can you kind of go back and talk about what your granddaughter saw and what was happening at that time? Can you share? Because if I say this, Chris, because if anybody else is going through what you're going through, I want them to understand they're not cuckoo and they should ask for help. Their house might need to be cleansed also. So
Right.
please, if you wouldn't mind sharing that.
So my grandchildren, their mother is a she can see things. She's a psychic. Her grandmother was a psychic, and now her mother, and now the children can definitely sense. I think a lot of children can sense anyways. I think they just have that they're just so pure, the children are
Yes.
pure. They're without sin, they're
Right.
without anything, and their light is bright. I mean,
Yes.
innocent. The little one they were seeing an old lady up in the bedroom, and they would go up to the top of the stairs, and the little girl, she would see an old lady, and she would always, they're so scared of my room. They would close the door before they would even go upstairs, before they would even go to the bathroom. They would shut my grandma and grandpa's door because of this old lady that was in there. And so things started. You could feel it. I don't know how to explain it. I can feel. I I don't know how to explain it, but I can feel when something's here or when it's on. Like if there's this, like the Bigfoot thing, I have witnesses to everything. Mostly everything I tell people, I either
Mhm.
had on camera or I've recorded.
Right.
Once I started capturing those EVPs out in the forest, I have EVPs of the same person at the area that I go to like 3 years in a row going, help, help, screaming for help. And then Al told me one, and I know I'm jumping off a little bit, but this is
That's
important.
okay.
You don't catch EVPs while you're out looking for Sasquatch. I mean,
Not
unless,
typically.
and
Yeah.
yeah, not typically, but unless you have this whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
So this one was yelling help, and then an hour and I don't know, 45 minutes later, 45 minutes, I'm not sure about the time, we caught him again going help, but he was a little bit farther away. And Al goes, Chris, you're missing the whole thing. He's like, don't you get it? I'm like, no, I don't get it. He says, Al, he goes, Chris, that thing followed you
Mhm.
from the point where you were 45 minutes earlier to the top of that mountain. That thing was still following you. And he was calling for help because he thinks you can help him.
Yeah.
He sees you. And see, look at my arms. This was what gets me. My arms are
Mhm.
straight up because I'm new to all this. This is a freaky, guys.
Yeah. I
It's
get
just
it.
I'm not used to it. And I'm sure it's going to get scarier as it goes along or whatever. But, um, so back to the grandchildren there, they can see these things and I could feel something here in the house. And then I did a radio interview, right? And I had to go grab something to drink. So I left the studio, right? And everything was on. And I come back, he goes, Chris, who's in the other room? I'm like, what do you mean in the other room? He goes, who's over in the other room? You hear him talking. I said, Andy, I'm the only one home. There's nobody here. He goes, there was somebody talking in the microphone while you were gone. And I'm like, just that. And I'm just like, whoa. And then I told him and what's going on. And I said, I think that there's just this thing here. And then and then you do some research and I was very restless sleeping. I couldn't, for some
Right.
reason, I have weird dreams and I was restless sleeping. And that's another sign of the old lady. And she's supposed to be beautiful, I guess, but supposed to look like an older hag lady, I guess. I don't know. But I got one of the boxes where you can talk, the ghost boxes, and I
Yes.
started asking questions, and it was answering. It was the craziest thing. It was answering. And then I got what is here with me? What is here? And all of a sudden, succubus.
Mhm.
Whoa. So I look it up and I think I had told Al first. And he's like, "Do you know what a succubus is?" I said, "I have no idea." So I looked it up. I'm like, "Holy cow." And she
Yeah.
comes into your dreams while you're dreaming. It's supposed to be holding you down. And if you get up and try and gasp for air and all this weird stuff. So I said, "Well, maybe that's what I got here." So I did my cleansing and whatever was here is now gone and nothing
Right.
has come back. The doors
Right.
are closed. I have black sea salt. I have salt here with me. I got it at the doorways. I got holy water crosses over all the doors. I am protecting my grandchildren and everybody from what we have. And so hopefully I can learn what these special gifts or whatever it is and help people um make it through this stuff.
Yeah. It's a very involved situation that you've been unfolding around you. And I think one of the things one of the takeaways I wanted from this is you listen to your grandkids, and I am so grateful that you did because that was very real to them. They were feeling and experiencing something, and they were getting genuinely scared, and that's awful. And I remember when you were talking to me about it the first time, there is nothing worse than feeling helpless with a kid. Like, I gotta do something. I remember you saying that, "I gotta do something. It's not okay for them to feel scared."
Right. That was
And
the
I
first
appreciate that about you a lot because not everybody responds to kids like you do, and that's a shame because you're right. Kids are pure and they have an openness that we tend to lose as we get older. And so when a kid says they see something, I don't hesitate. There is no reason for me not to believe them. If it ends up being an imaginary friend later and nothing comes of it, so be it. But if there is actually something to be concerned about, they're one of the first ones to know. They're the best barometer you got in the house.
Mhm.
You know, they sense things so quickly and so easily without and they'll whatever's there they see. They see very clearly what's going on around them. Okay, so let's move forward. So some time has passed, you've had your house cleansed. What other things are you looking at? What other monsters are you dealing with or getting introduced to? What are you finding?
Um, I've done the rake thing, and I don't know, nothing like really like no, nothing really like nothing. I'm just like I'm having visual stuff happen and stuff like that, but that's not really anything.
That's okay. Let's talk about that.
Things skipping. I mean, I've seen that. It's just weird. This one I just don't think it's right. I don't know if it's just my misperception or something, but like I would come out of the gas station, the car would be on one side and my truck would be on the other side, and I would get in my truck and all of a sudden look in the rearview mirror and I'd look up and the car would be in back of the truck. But I don't know if that I just didn't see it like that, or I don't know. That's just a strange one to me. Um, I got a certain house in Kansas that ever since I started looking into the paranormal side that has a strange, I don't know how you would say it, strange attraction to me.
Mhm,
I turn on when I watch TV, I turn it on and it's always on there, and it's called the Sally House. I'm sure
mhm.
you guys have all probably heard of the Sally House. But it's very strange how something that you've never ever heard of or seen of or knew of all of a sudden is popping in and out of your normal everyday life to where it's there, and it's almost like I'm supposed to go visit it for some reason. Again, this is I don't know. This is just my opinion. I don't know if this is what's going on. It's very strange. It's very strange.
Well, the fact that it keeps showing up to you could be a lot of things. It could be a coincidence, it could be, um, something in there is drawing you to it for some reason or another. Um, what I'm curious about though is as you're going through and you're experiencing new things, your life is changing. You're kind of evolving. You're still a regular guy. You get up in the morning and go to work like everybody else that's listening and watching, but you really don't have a choice in this matter. If I believe that if you were to stop all this research and stop all this doing this, I don't think these activities would stop around you, because once it started, that's it. You're in. And they're going to keep communicating with you and showing up around you. And they're especially going to keep trying to get energy from you. Um, I
That's
say this because if people don't always, they're not into prayer, they're not into meditation, they don't, it's not real to them, it's not tangible. Energy is energy. It never dies. It never dies. It doesn't just go away. It's there. It's real. Um, Energy in a battery, energy in your heart, energy in your mind. There's electricity with energy all over around us. And it stands to reason that in this world full of electrical things and full of energy all around us, it's not surprising to me that we have interactions with things we don't understand. It doesn't surprise me a bit. I do frequently, you know. Um, but it is different. It's not how I was necessarily raised to focus on those things. So it's a little jarring as an adult to have this other universe kind of pop up and become part of your daily experience or your weekly experience. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to think about. Um, if somebody wanted to ask for your help to research something, what would you do? If someone wrote to your email, in fact, let me have you just for a moment for our listeners, would you spell out your email where you would like to be contacted if someone wants to reach out to you?
Sure. You can all get a hold of me at realamericanmonsters@gmail.com, and that's REALAMERICANMONSTERS@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you. So if
So
someone were to contact you and say, I think there's something weird going on at my place, what would be the next step?
I would so it depends on what it is. If it's Sasquatch, I wouldn't have to seek guidance.
Okay.
To have something else to do with it where I'm new to everything, I would seek out. I have a lot of good friends. I have a lot of friends that are experienced, like Al's one of them, and
Mhm.
other friends that are experienced in a lot of different other things, and I have a huge web, and
Right.
I would reach out to the person that I know that was dealing with this stuff, and I would reach out to them, and I would tell them what's going on, and ask them what I should tell them and what they should do, and then I would get back to them, and if the opportunity, if they were close enough, I would go to them, I would go meet them, I would go see what's going on. That's what Real American Monsters is about. We want to go to your house. We want to come to you. We want to camp in your backyard, and we want to get evidence why we're there. We want to film, but we also want to help. And if some cases come up where we can't film and we're just there to help, maybe we'll do it without filming. We'll do it audio wise or something like that. But the main thing is we have certain gifts and people have gifts, and I believe this is one of my gifts, and this is what I want to go and I want to try and help people. So I would definitely, if I'm not familiar and I don't want to say the wrong things, because if you say the wrong things, you get somebody hurt.
Right.
You can get somebody in trouble. They could invite something into their house that you don't want in your house. I mean,
Right.
there's so many things out there. So I would definitely, like I said, if I didn't know what was going, I would seek help, and if I couldn't help them, and I would point them in the right direction, because I know people like, I could point them to too. So that's how I would approach it at first.
Okay. So, so far, what do you think is one of the strangest things? Let me jump back to Bigfoot for a second, to Sasquatch. What's one of the strangest things you've learned about Sasquatch in your research so far
That
that
they
you
can
think is
that they
I'm
can
sorry.
follow you. They can follow you home.
Yeah.
They know
Yeah.
where you live. If
Right.
you are we traded with the Sasquatch for 6 years.
Hmm.
I got sick. I had gallstones. I went in for stomach surgery, and I couldn't get it up to our trading area. And I wasn't up there. I think it was for like a month. So, like, on the 4th week, I was just getting back to work and just back out of the house, and I came downstairs to go to work, and Maria was looking out the back window, and she's like, what the heck is out there?" And I'm like, I'm looking out the window, I'm like, "I have no idea what that is." She goes, "Well," so I go, "I'll go take a look at it." I open up the door, it's a coyote leg, freshly ripped off the dog at my back door. That's the day I realized that the Sasquatch could follow you home, because
Yeah.
there's nothing else in this world that's gonna come to my back door and leave a coyote leg. I mean, it's gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I threw it in the woods, and I
Right.
worked where I live, so I went and got the guys from work. I brought them down here to show them the leg,
Right.
and it was gone. Gone, gone. There's no trace of it, and there's nothing in the woods that's gonna take a whole coyote leg that's or lives around here.
Right.
So, them knowing, and the trading area from here is like 10 miles over like 3 mountains from here. So it's not
Hmm.
like close by. How do they know where you are?
Right.
That's the strangest thing about the Sasquatch. I've only had the mind speak twice, and then never ever again.
So share that with everybody.
Um, there was we got shut this after the 6 years up there. The land got sold, and we couldn't go back up there. So towards the end of what we had going on up there, there was 3 sets of prints from the day one. There was a mama, a papa, and a little one. And at the end, it only was the little one, and we called her she always, and she grew. She was like tiny, tiny footprints, and when she was done, she was like, I don't remember what she was, between 9 and 3/4 and 10 and a half, somewhere like that. I don't remember exactly. But she was the only prince that we would find up there. Eh,
Hmm.
all the other ones were gone. It was like she was left there, or he was left there. We know it's a she now. Well, I think it's a she.
Hmm.
So, we couldn't go back up there, so I'd meditate before I go to bed every night. I have a moldavite stone I use, and I meditate with the stone, and, um, then I say my prayers before I go to bed and pray to Saint Michael for protection, all that stuff, and, I had during the meditation, I was seeing this face was coming through, and it had dreadlocks, and it started becoming like, it was very strange again. This is all very strange stuff. And the dreadlocks started getting more clear, and then she had like sideburns like Elvis, and then the
Okay.
the hair started getting thicker on the side.
Hmm.
Big black eyes started appearing, big black eyes, solid black eyes. And then all of a sudden you could see her, and then you hear this na 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 na, and then you would hear na 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 ta, and then na 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 na, and then all of a sudden Natari. And when she said Natari, she flew at my face. Like every time these guys come at my face, like that little rake thing came right at my
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do it. They always goes Natari, and boom, shoosh, gone.
Hmm.
And I woke up. I'm like, oh, I didn't. I was in meditation, whatever. I was someone
Right.
that I've never been. When you meditate and you do it right, you're not here.
Correct.
I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what the word for it is or whatever, but I was not here. So
Gotcha.
I woke up after that because it startled me, and I went down and told Maria. I tell Maria everything. I don't hide anything.
That's good.
She's very supportive, and she believes me because she's seen it. She's experienced it. And so I come back upstairs and I finish my meditation. I said, well, if this was really what it was, and it just wasn't a dream of mine, or it wasn't just I was dreaming, could you leave something in a physical form for me to let me know that it was real? So I did finish that, and I said my prayers, went to bed, woke up the next morning. Maria's downstairs having her cup of coffee. I walk in, and she's like, "You see what's out on the lawn out there?" She's always looking out the window because she feeds her animals. She's got birds and squirrels. She feeds all the animals.
Hmm.
I'm like, "Oh, I have no idea what that stuff is." Well, so I get outside. I'm gonna go start the truck for work. I go over and look at the stuff, and it's a stuffed monkey in a Tupperware container. 2 things that we used up at the gifting area for 6 years.
Nice.
For solid 6 years. We were burying the gifts in Tupperware containers under the ground at the end of the time. We always tried to show people that it took hands what they were doing.
Right.
We were putting it in 8 inches into the ground, putting stones over it, putting
Right.
rock, and they were coming, taking all that stuff and popping it off and taking into the trades, the peanut
Nice.
butter and stuff. And so I'm like, okay. So I asked for something to be left physically, so I know it was them. So maybe that was real. So I took the monkey and I put it in the tree outside the house, and I tied it up in the tree. And a couple weeks passed, and the guys at work were saying, "What's the monkey doing in the tree?" I'm like, I tell you, you would think I'm crazy." And but anyway, so they were into the monkey thing. They were all checking it out every day. The monkey thing, you know. So 2 weeks later, I'm doing the same thing. I'm meditating. All of a sudden, this little black Ewok thing would just, it was all black fur. He was tiny, little 4-foot thing with like a clear patch over his eye, round black eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He comes running across. He jumps up on my chest. He jumps right behind my chest, right in my face. He goes, "Archibald." Then boom. Yeah. Name was, now these are names, Natari and Archibald. This is not common.
Right.
So I get downstairs and she's like, Maria's like, "You're not going to believe this." And I'm like, "Oh, well, at this point in my life, Maria, it's kind of hard for me not to think that I'm not going to believe anything anymore."
Right.
She goes, "Look out in the tree." I look out. I'm like, "Oh my God, the monkey's gone." I'm like,
Oh,
"You're not going to
nice.
believe what happened last night." So I told her the
Right.
story about Archibald. And she goes, "Well, listen to this. For the last 3 days, all my animals have been gone. The squirrels, the birds, everything. Nothing's been coming to the feeders." And
Oh,
that's a sure sign when Sasquatch around, there's no wildlife around there.
they leave them alone.
They
Yeah.
leave it alone. There's
Yeah.
nothing around. And then that monkey gets taken. And I'm like, holy cow, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Right.
So yeah, that was that. And that was the only 2 times it's ever happened. Never happened since, never happened before. That was it.
That's awesome.
So when you tell me that you think that there's one here that watches out for me,
Mm-hmm. I know there is. Yeah.
that's who that is. It's she. It's Natari.
Yeah.
And Natari, Al made me look up the meaning. He says you have to research that name. I would have never thought of that.
Right.
But you got to research that name. The first Native American female saint, Upper State New York.
Really?
Natari.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I have a book I should send you. I have 2 copies of it, and it's all about the origin of names, and it's so fun.
Yeah, it was
I need to
pretty
send
neat
you that. I'm going to make a note.
It was pretty neat that we could find that. So yeah, that was the only time it ever happened. And again, I told Maria everything I have. I don't hide anything. I'm not trying to hide it. Like I said, I go to work every day. I do my job. I'm not I'm not on any medicines, or I don't even drink or smoke or nothing. I'm boring.
Right.
I collect baseball cards. I mean, you
Right.
know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't drink. I haven't drank in a long, long, long time. I used to smoke cigarettes. I don't even smoke cigarettes anymore. I don't do anything. Bigfoot became an obsession for me. But now with all this other stuff, it's just, now there's meaning to it. There's meaning behind it, and I got to go and try and help some people. That's what I think I'm. And all the weird stuff didn't happen until I turned 50. I mean, I had a little.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, I had little episodes when I was a kid. I saw a couple spirits, and then little hints of it along the way. Like I went to Gillette Castle when I was in like 6th grade field trip, and I saw one of the door handles jiggling at Gillette Castle, and I had some weird things happen, that way, and seeing things, but nothing like once I turned 50, and I'm 56 now. So for the last 6 years, it's been a pretty wild ride.
It's incredible. When the doors open to the other side, it doesn't open a creep. It's wide open, and all kinds of stuff starts filtering through. It's amazing.
If I went and looked, if I went and like actually focused on looking for this and focused on what was out there, I'm sure that I could have a lot more going on than I do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I want a lot more going on, if you know what I mean. If I can go, like I said, again, I might sound like a broken record. If I can go out and help people, then that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I don't want it all at my house. I just don't want it
Right.
at home anymore. I just want that away from it. And it's been away from the home. It's like it's.
Yeah. I actually set perimeters for things that contact me, because I was sharing this the other night. on a podcast. I was getting interviewed, and when we first moved here, my husband and I moved in this house. I'm always real quiet when I go somewhere new because I wait to hear the local spirits and see what their deal is. And I don't announce that I'm a psychic medium. I don't walk through the house and go, "Hi, I'm a psychic. I can't wait to hear from you." Blah blah. I just don't say a word. And so a couple of them were chatting, and so once the word got out that there was somebody who could hear and see them, my hallway was packed, and I did not get any sleep that first night. They were blah, 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 blah. It was like being in a very busy place. I kind of describe it like being in a coffee shop where everybody has a conversation of their own going on, and they
Right.
all want you to listen. And if any movies on ghosts, people have seen this scenario acted out before. And that is what it is like. It's very noisy, and they're excited, and they want you to listen to them. They want you to hear their story. They want you to know what they went through. And I finally just said, enough. Not when I'm in this room. I will listen to you when I'm awake. Do not wake me up. There better be something on fire if you wake me up.
Right.
Don't wake me up. I need my sleep. And just once you set the perimeters, they learn to give you some space and mind the boundaries, because otherwise they're just like an intrusive individual that wouldn't leave you alone. They have their own plans and their own desires and wishes, and they're just going to keep going until you say stop. So it's good to set boundaries for all that stuff.
Yeah,
You have to.
I don't want any of that.
Yeah, it's just better not to. It's better not to. So we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about a lot of stuff. Is there something else about your research that you're really proud of at this point?
I am proud that I have learned how to stay positive through it all. I've met some bad people.
Yeah.
Along the way,
Me
and
too.
I have wanted to give it up, like, because of them. I mean, they're
Yeah.
just bad people, and, um, I have learned not to listen to them anymore. I have learned that it's their own life. They're miserable in their own skin, and if
Yep.
they have to come and attack you for it, then, it's just a cry for them for attention, and they need somebody to listen to them, and because someone's listening to you, like if I knew somebody and there's somebody's listening to them, I doesn't whatever, go ahead, you can listen to them. I'm not gonna slam them for what they do. I just not that's who I'm not who I am, and, I met some bad people, and, that made me wanna quit, but it's just I pulled through it, and I'm stronger for that, and I'm stronger than they are, and I hope that what I'm going to do next is why I'm here and why I started all this, and, um, so that's probably the greatest thing. I've made a lot of great friends. I met a lot of nice people, great people, like real people, like real friends that way, they're not
Yeah.
out to take your money. They're not out for any of that stuff. They're not out
Right.
there to lie to you. They're just you're really, really good friends, and, I guess that's the best. I guess that's the best thing I've come. I mean, the hum thing is pretty cool, but that's a discovery. I mean, you get more, hopefully we can figure out what that is, and they make and, but I guess, yeah, it's just that I'm strong enough to make it this long because a lot of people don't, and they
That's
give up
true.
on it, and, once I was talking to Doug today about it, and, I'm like, you have to get to the point to realize that the Sasquatch are monkeys they hide. This hide and seek champion thing is a bunch of BS. You're not 800 pounds and 10 feet
Right.
tall and leave one footprint while you're walking through a muddy field. There's something else going on, and
Right.
if you can't learn to accept that, you're never gonna learn anymore. You're never gonna see them again. You
Right.
can only hope that you're gonna have another, interaction by stumbling across them, but to each their own. That's what they wanna do, that's what they wanna do, so,
Right.
um, but yeah, no, I'm just happy to still be doing. I'm happy to have the support from Maria and my boss at work. He's very he knows what I do. He buys bumper stickers and
That's
T-shirts for
awesome.
me, and uh,
That's fortunate for you. That's
yeah,
really
because
amazing to have that much support around you, especially from your work.
all right, it
That's a
is.
huge blessing.
It's expensive. I mean, if you gotta sell a T-shirt or anything, like I was thinking about doing maybe a Patreon with Real American Monsters just
Mhm.
to help out and
Right.
just maybe some backing, but I don't need it. I work, full time, but I would love to do this full time. I think I'm meant to do this full time, and that's what I've always wanted to do. I mean, I'm sure every Sasquatch researcher out there wants to be able to do it full time, but
Sure.
this next bump, this next hurdle that I'm going over, I think that's what I was meant to be here for. I think that's why I'm here. I think I'm supposed to help. I've already done the discovery process. I've already done that. I know that they're
Right.
real. I know all this stuff is real. Now it's time to discover it, try and figure out some of it and go help people.
Yeah.
So,
It'll come together. I
yep.
believe that.
So I hope it does, and I hope people get behind Real American Monsters. It's very important to me, and I will work hard with it, and I will show everybody everything that we do, and I will film as much as we can, and um, it's just not going to be creepy pasta. It's just not
I
who I
love
am.
that term. That's hilarious.
But that's what it is. I mean, if you need creepy pasta, then I mean, I'm
Right.
sure we're going to get into some hairy situations while
Sure.
we're out there. I got a place I'm going in the fall. I'll just put it this way: I'm going to a place in the fall where a man lives with his family, his mother and his brother, and
Mhm.
he has constant Sasquatch activity at his
Yeah.
house all the time.
Yep.
He's got this howl that they just got, this grunt, this something, and it sounds big and deep. It doesn't sound like a Sasquatch to me.
Yeah.
But
Really?
yeah, no, but we're going there in September,
Nice.
and we're gonna go down there. We're gonna camp for a week, and we're gonna go see what we can do down there. And so that's gonna be our first road trip for Real American Monsters. And
Well, I wanna hear about that when you get back.
yeah,
I
I mean,
definitely wanna.
people have experiences at his house all the time.
That's
So
awesome.
now we're bringing a group of people that have those experiences, like myself, that can go other places and have those experiences, and we'll
Yes.
put them all in one place and see
Absolutely.
what happens. He has Indian Mound on his property.
Does he?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Okay. There's a
so
lot of history there probably then.
right,
Sounds
right.
like. Yeah.
So I'm still gonna do the Bigfoot thing. I'm still gonna be interested in what's going on. I'm still
Sure.
all that, but I'm at the point to where the only thing that really is missing for me is filming one and or in having that up close. I want that up close,
Yeah.
like 5 feet.
Yeah.
So, and those are the only two things I'm missing. I know they're there. I've had many a stones thrown at me. I've heard them scream. I've heard
Yeah.
them sing. I've heard them everything.
That's awesome.
Slapping the houses. I've traded with them. I've gotten
Yeah.
rocks and feathers and legs of animals.
That's
Um,
awesome. That is
so
awesome. Well, I just wanna say thank you again, Chris, because it is always fun chatting with you. It's definitely fun to get I'm sorry we waited so long to do this. Um, if you wanna get a hold of Chris again, you can reach him at realamericanmonsters@gmail.com. And thank you again for everyone that's watched and listened. Please hit the like button and hit the thumbs up so more people can hear and see these stories. I want more and more people to talk about the paranormal. We need to make it part of regular conversations. I believe that it's long overdue. We need to be able to talk about it without any fear or retribution from anyone and have our say and get to share. There's so many great stories. There's so many things that people have experienced throughout their lives. And even if it's 3 seconds of something, that's a treasure that they hold forever. And I would love for people to be able to share it without any concerns. So I do it all the time, but I want more people to, like Chris. And thank you again, Chris, for coming on. This is Holly from Holly's Pandorium. Thank you again for coming, and we'll talk to you soon.